What's up, everyone? It's me, your friendly neighborhood pastor. Today I'm going to be reacting to Professor John Lennox and his talk at Oxford about the existence of God.
I believe in God. I believe in the supernatural God who created the heavens and the earth. I believe in a God who holds the heavens and the earth in existence.
You know, if you're debating in a tuxedo, you're the man.
I believe that on the basis of rational evidence, similar to the beliefs held by the founders of this house.
The University of Oxford is the second oldest continuing university. The first one is in Italy. All of these established by Christians. How far we have fallen in Western civilization now to even need to debate this subject, where these very universities were started for the glory of God.
Who gave this university the motto, Dominus Illuminatio Mea. They saw no contradiction between faith in God and the utmost excellence in rational inquiry. And if I dare mention my alma mater of Cambridge in this holy place, I would remind you that on the door of the Cavendish Laboratory in Cambridge are written the words, "Great are the works of the Lord, studied by all who delight in them." And as we look at the rise of science in the 16th and 17th centuries, Alfred North Whitehead and many others commented that men became scientific because they expected law in nature, and they expected law in nature because they believed in a lawgiver.
Wow, you mean the scientific method was popularized by Christians out of their love for God and the world that He made? It is so sad to me to see people today act as if science and God are in opposition to each other when these universities were started by Christians, for Christians, to study the Christian God and the world that He made.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not ashamed of being both a scientist and a Christian, because arguably Christianity gave me my subject. What I am amazed at is that serious thinkers today continue to ask us to choose between God and science.
If you're a Christian, do you feel the pressure to have to choose between God and science? When I go out in public to preach the gospel and ask people to stop and talk about Jesus, they say, "I don't believe in God, I believe in science." If the founders of the modern scientific movement would have heard someone say that, they would have laughed at them and thought that was ridiculous. Of course you can believe in God and science. Science and God are not in opposition to each other.
That's like asking people to choose between Henry Ford and engineering as an explanation of the motor car.
This is one of the best arguments that John Lennox brings up in his talks. The idea of a creator and the creation are not in opposition to each other. Just like Henry Ford is not in opposition to the invention of the car.
When Newton discovered his law of gravity, he didn't say, "I've got a law, I don't need God." No, he wrote the Principia Mathematica, arguably the greatest work in the whole history of science, because he saw that God is not the same kind of explanation as a scientific explanation. God doesn't compete. Agency does not compete with mechanism and law.
We are all right now in God's creation, in His car. We can look around and see the evidence of design. We understand that it didn't always exist. It had a beginning. We learned that in the Big Bang. And now that we see what has banged, it has banged in an organized, purposeful way. I always tell people, I believe in the Big Bang. God said it, bang, it happened. Now in the world, we can look at the design elements and understand things about our Creator. But these design elements are not in competition with our Creator, because our Creator is beyond that which He has created.
Why is there something rather than nothing?
That's the big question that only God can answer.
Alan Sandage, the brilliant cosmologist who became a Christian in his 50s, said God is the answer to that question. But people are now so desperate to show that the universe created itself from nothing, which seems to me to be an immediate oxymoron. If I say X created Y, I'm assuming the existence of X to explain the existence of Y. If I say X created X, I'm assuming the existence of X to explain the existence of X, which simply shows that nonsense remains nonsense even if high-powered scientists utter it.
Sick burn, yo.
It reminds me a little bit of G.K. Chesterton, who said, "It is absurd to complain that it is unthinkable for an unthinkable God to make everything out of nothing, and then to pretend that it is more thinkable that nothing should turn itself into everything. The heavens declare the glory of God," says the ancient psalm.
Amen. Hallelujah.
And we've unraveled a bit of that, seeing the fine-tuning of the fundamental forces of nature. It's something that's so striking to scientists that it demands explanation. And it seems to me that Arno Penzias hit it right. He is the Nobel Prize winner who discovered the microwave background on which a lot of the evidence for the Big Bang is based. He said astronomy leads us to a unique event, a universe which was created out of nothing, one with the very delicate balance needed to provide exactly the right conditions required to permit life, and one which has an underlying, one might say, supernatural plan.
So often you hear scientists talk like this, almost like they believe in God in one sense, and then in another sense they don't believe in God. They see how improbable it is for the universe to exist in its design state, so they punt the explanation to the multiverse or something like that. However, those who want to be honest with the data have to insert some kind of miracle.
But I want to come to what I think is one of the fundamental arguments for theism. I take it this house believes in reason. That's why we're all here. And as a scientist, I believe that the universe is rationally intelligible. That is something that has struck some of the geniuses of science as demanding an explanation.
We are thinkers, and we think about how we think, and then we organize the world in facts and in different theories. And simply coming from the goo through the zoo to you, mindless chance, there would be no explanation for why we have minds and why our minds correspond so well with the world around us.
Einstein said the only incomprehensible thing about the universe is that it's comprehensible.
Yo, Einstein.
And Wigner talked about the unreasonable effectiveness of mathematics. How is it that a mathematician thinking in her head in here can come up with equations that seem to fit the universe out there? Well, how is it indeed? Because the irony of the atheist position here is evident. My atheist friends, and I have many of them, tell me that the driving force of evolution, which eventually produced our human cognitive faculties, reason included, was not primarily concerned with truth at all, but with survival. And we all know, ladies and gentlemen, what has often happened and still happens to truth when individuals or commercial enterprises or nations feel themselves threatened and struggle for survival. A leading philosopher, Alvin Plantinga of Notre Dame, says if atheists are right that we are the product of mindless, unguided natural processes, then they have given us strong reason to doubt the reliability of human cognitive faculties, and therefore inevitably to doubt the validity of any belief that they produce, including their atheism. Their biology and their belief in naturalism would therefore appear to be at war with each other in a conflict that has nothing at all to do with God.
You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't believe that we came through mindless evolution and now we have a mind. You would not be able to trust that mind. You wouldn't know the difference between yourself and a poached egg.
Yet my atheist friends still insist that it is rational for them to believe that the evolution of human reason was not directed for the purpose of discovering truth. And yet, it is irrational for me to believe that human reason was designed and created by God to enable us to understand and believe the truth. Curious logic. By contrast with that, biblical theism asserts that ultimate reality is personal and intelligent, and the reason science works, and this was the motivating force that drove the great pioneers of science, is that the universe out there and the human mind in here that does the science are ultimately the product of the same intelligent divine mind. Human beings are made, we are told, in God's image. And that means that science can be done.
Mic drop.
I'm going to stop right there and let you watch the rest of it on your own time. But I think we got enough to go on. Without having a God to explain the origin of the universe, we would have to assert that from nothing, everything came. And that's just a contradiction. From nothing, nothing comes. Now that we have everything and we're here and we admit that something created the something that we're in, what is that something like? By looking at the creation, we should be able to get some understanding of what the creator is like. The creator would have to have a mind, since we have a mind and do things in this creation. Where did that mind come from? A great mind. We then see that the world is designed because our mind can make out the design. So our creator must have a mind that can design. And lastly, we see that design has purpose. Even though there are things in the world that we don't understand, there's a lot that we do understand. The purpose of a seed, the purpose of a man and a woman coming together to have babies, the purpose of eating good food and having nutrition, the purpose of breathing in air. Now, to go to the next step, we would have to understand what that God did to get in touch with us. And I believe that he sent his only begotten son, Jesus Christ, to die on the cross for our sins and to resurrect to give us eternal life. I believe that the God of the universe has been speaking to us by prophets who were recorded in the Bible. And right now I hear some people saying, but it's a book written by men. Of course, what do you want the book to be written by? Elephants? Men write books, but these men were inspired by encounters with God. We believe that those stories are true for many different reasons we can discuss in another video. Some of the reasons would include scientific and prophetic accuracy. But Jesus Christ is the center of that message. And Jesus says that the Father sent him so that we would know, most importantly, who he is. The Bible is not meant to be a science book, but a book that reveals our hearts and shows us who we really are. Because no matter how much you know about something, doesn't mean that you're going to really find happiness. We can know all about God in his creation, but not know the Creator. Jesus Christ came to give us what we needed most, a relationship with the Creator. Well, that's what I believe. What do you believe? I think John Lennox in that tuxedo brought the house down with some great points. Comment below what you think. Like, comment, and share if you want me to react to more videos like this. If you like Christian gear like this or want to make your own, check out our website at kingdomprinting.store and place an order. If you're called into the ministry and want to get an online education, visit our website at legacyministrycollege.org. Shoot us a line, and it's tuition free. I believe that mathematicians in tuxedos giving a talk at Oxford can teach us a lot about our world and point us towards God. What do you believe?